Well, joining me on the program, somebody else who, well, could be described as a veteran former broadcaster, Tim Wilson from Maxim. Tim, kia ora, how are you doing?
Kia ora, good to see you, Andrew. And just FYI, it's not less people are watching the 6 p.m. news, it's fewer. Don't
Okay.
get on the wrong side of an ex-print guy, okay? I'm just saying.
No, well and truly told off in that regard. But hey, for you, this is a little bit personal because you were part of the crew. You've been involved with media for many years, as you say, in print media, but also you were TVNZ's guy in the States for many years in terms
Correct,
of
yeah.
people losing their jobs. In some ways, this is personal. These are people you know.
Yeah, these are my mates, and it's always tough. Redundancy is always tough. I'd say it's particularly tough in TV, where you become your job in some way. Your identity, the edge is fray, and you become who you appear on screen, and that's something that I came to TV from print, and I was sort of bemused, then bewildered, then besotted, perhaps, by that particular transition. I think the other thing I would say too is that your first redundancy is always a tragedy. Your second redundancy is a comedy because you know it's not about you.
Yeah.
It's about something a bit larger. So that's yeah. But certainly, Simon's departure. It is the end of an era. He was he fronted the news for 20 years. I
Wow.
mean, and we're talking Canterbury earthquakes, COVID, mosque attacks, all of that stuff. A few people, when they leave their role, it's said that it's the end of an era. Certainly, when you depart in 20 years, Andrew, that will be the end of an era too.
I've got still,
But
still
it's
got 20 years. My goodness, I thought I'd get time off for good behaviour, Tim. But there we go. I mean, this is significant, but the writing has been on the wall for a while. Of course, we saw something similar with TV3, and honestly, it seems that what some describe as mainstream media is going the way of the dodo. Some of this to do with technology, some of it to do with, more different ways of news gathering online.
Yeah. And look, just here's a fun fact. In the US last year, viewers of the US election on TV was the lowest number since 1963.
Wow.
So that gives you a sense of the business model around TV. But you're right. I mean, we did hear a lot of proclamations that it was the death of democracy. I think perhaps it's the democratization of media in many respects, and people say, well, there are fewer journalists. That's a problem. But if there were fewer bureaucrats, would we say that that's a problem as well? I don't think we'd draw the same conclusion. So the other question that's advanced is, oh, well, with social media, it's just a rabbit hole, and people can't tell, what's real and what's false. But I've got some good news there in the sense that Edelman, the Trust Barometer, did a survey of trust of social media, and New Zealanders have one of the highest rates of distrust of social media in the international scene.
Yeah.
So I'm optimistic in many respects.
In some ways, though, this is part of the problem. Yes, there's changing technology, but there's also been a decreasing trust of media generally. It used to be, I mean, hey, Dougal Stevenson, if he said it, it was true. You could rely on that. You could take that to the bank. It seems to be, though, that there's been what some people perceive as a bit of an ideological capture between the media scene, the mainstream media scene in New Zealand, that you only get one point of view. The days of balanced journalism where you talk to people with disparate opinions, that seems to have disappeared years ago.
Yeah. There's and to that point about trust being based on perceived bias. Massey University did a survey in 2022, and 62% of journalists identified as centre-left. So, and I don't think anyone who consumes mainstream media would disagree with that remark. I'm sort of thinking, though, I've been thinking about the wider picture. So we had a more objective model in New Zealand, but you look at the media landscape, for example, in the UK. I mean, if you were inclined to the right, voted for the Tories, you'd read the Times.
Yep.
If you voted for Labour, you'd read the Guardian. It was the same in the United States. So I would say that, yes, we are moving away from a particular, and trust is declining. There's no question. I think the legacy media sacrificed a lot of trust during COVID. That's another story. But we're moving more to a media landscape that might resemble the media landscape in other countries,
Yeah.
where there's actually people are able to choose, given their particular persuasions, and based on that Edelman Trust Barometer survey, ideally I'd like to think that New Zealanders can go, okay, that smells off, I'm not going for that, but that seems correct.
I mean, that's all very well in theory. The challenge for us here in New Zealand is the size of the market, the size of the population. We don't have the population levels of the States or the UK, where there is space in the media marketplace for a diversity of opinion. We don't even have the market for 2 nightly news programs here in New Zealand, it would seem. Well, certainly not enough to pay the bills. Is that part of the problem? We are this small little country at the bottom of the world. We haven't got the resources to make our own media, so we're perhaps more fascinated with what's happening with the New York City election than we are with our local body politics.
Yeah, and look, that's always been my problem as a consumer too. Is like, oh, it just seems more dramatic over there, more exciting. Having said that, as an inhabitant and a citizen of New Zealand, I rather like the absence of drama compared to, say, the United States.
Yep.
We are more apolitical, and that's I would argue that that's a positive. In terms of the a lot of the stuff, as we've been saying, is migrating onto the internet. So, for example, we don't have community newspapers, as many community newspapers anymore, but you go to your local Facebook page for the community. And look, again, that's often the Wild West, where opinion mutates into prejudice, into all kinds of sort of malodorous beasts. But that's up to you to discern. It's like, oh no, that seems off. That won't do. Won't accept that. So yeah, we do have a population problem, but there are benefits to that too.
And hey, power to the people, as you say. Maybe the democratizing of media, an increase in the amount of information that's out there, although perhaps we should up our discernment levels as to what to swallow whole and what to chuck out in that space. Hey, Tim, very much appreciate your thoughts and comments, your wisdom and experience in this matter. Thanks so much for joining us today.
My pleasure, Andrew. And look, follow someone you don't like and like their stuff. That's my advice in this new world. We'll catch you next time.
Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.